Honestly, I'd say Johto has the highest percentage of forgotten Pokemon of any generation, but the fact that these creatures aren't frequently brought up in public discourse doesn't mean that they aren't great. It's actually really fun playing through the game with Pokemon that are fairly unexplored. It's one of the many ways that these games are still enjoyable so many years after their releases. I've done playthroughs with quite a few of these forgotten cuties already. Last week I did a playthrough with Gligar, and today it's Murkrow's turn. I actually think this grumpy little magpie is going to do a great job. With a little bit of luck, it might just make it into the S tier. Here are my rules for the playthrough. Only Murkrow in battle, no items in battle including held items, no glitches or exploits, and I'm not going to use the TM for double team before level 100. It should be a last resort only. To start off, I replaced Chikorita with Murkrow. The Typhlosion Learn set in the pre-league rival fight, which is the last one that I complete in these playthroughs, is a lot better than Feraligators, so I think that this is the best way to make the game as challenging as possible. Then, once I've received my Murkrow, I set its determinate values with a save editor. This will set its hidden power type. I've got to choose between a 70 base power dark hidden power, which will get stab, and a 70 base power coverage move. Murkrow is weak to rock, electric, and ice types. Of these three types, electric is going to be the most challenging to deal with because of the Magnemite line. I have no answer to the defensive might of steel types, and ground type hidden power might really help. With it, I have perfect DVs in all stats except attack, and the attack stat is 12. So that's going to be a little bit less powerful physical attacks, but overall I think that this small disadvantage is going to be more than made up for with the ground type move. The reason I've decided to take this approach of determining my hidden power and not playing through with perfect stats is because of the comments that you left on my Corsola video. I really do think that we should just pick the best possible hidden power and then go forward with that. The difference between a perfect Pokemon and a Pokemon with an exceptional hidden power is clearly not that much, and in most cases it just makes sense to have a coverage move rather than exactly perfect stats. Speaking of which, Murkrow actually has great stats. It's a fast and balanced attacker. This is great for its typing. Dark moves are special and flying moves are physical, so it'll have a lot of flexibility. This little magpie's only downside is that its defensive stats do not inspire confidence. Super effective damage is going to hit really hard. So it's basically a glass cannon. By leveling up, Murkrow has access to almost no moves. It's nice that it gets Peck to start and eventually learns Feint Attack though. Its moveset expands a lot when examining the TMs. Icy Wind, Return, Shadow Ball, Mud Slap, Swift Rest, Steel Wing, and Fly could all be quite useful. I find it really funny that it learns Dream Eater and Nightmare, but it has no way to learn a sleep move. This is actually the case for a lot of Generation 2 Pokemon. Game Freak, what were you thinking? My prediction is that Murkrow is going to make quick work of this game. Glass Cannons fare really well in this sort of playthrough. As I said before, I think that it has a chance of earning a spot in the S tier. So let's get into it and see. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and share this video with a friend. Also leave a comment, I gotta read them all. Falkner is sort of a joke today. His birds can't use the cursed Mud Slap against Murkrow. So, you think that you're a big shot, Falkner? Well, you're really not, because your dad was good at Pokemon, not you. I've got zero respect for your mud slapping birds today. Another big advantage for Murkrow in the early game is that Peck and Pursuit both get the same type attack bonus. With it, Peck is just over a 50 power attack, and Pursuit is a 60 power attack. This is really good early on. I didn't realize this consciously until now, but the route after Violet City has no mandatory trainer battles in Crystal. You can skip them all. Murkrow is doing so well so far, and bug types in the next gym are just not going to be an issue, so I can save a lot of time here. During Slowpoke's well, Murkrow learns Haze, and I've been thinking of putting together a personal moveset of mine, my favorite moves. It obviously contains Rest, but I think that Haze might make a good second choice. The ability to negate the effects of Sand Attack is just too enticing. By the way, despite Sand Attack being a ground move, it still hits flying Pokemon. That's incredibly frustrating, so even Murkrow can't avoid it today. Murkrow shines in the second gym, and now I'm starting to understand how good flying type Pokemon are in the early game of Generation 2. They avoid Falkner's Mud Slaps, and then they have a type advantage in the second gym. But their power doesn't stop there. A little known fact of Generation 2 is that the badge boost exists here as well. In this case, Falkner's badge boosts your Pokemon's attack by 12.5%. There's no glitch this time, so that's just a constant 12.5% boost. But wait, there's more. In this generation, each badge also boosts the power of a certain type of move. So Falkner's badge boosts flying type moves. After defeating the majestic mud-slapping birds, Murkrow has a 25% boost in its offensive power when it uses Peck. That's pretty broken. Are you ready to watch me completely fall apart? Not against the rival, he's easy this time. I'm gonna completely fall apart against this next section of the game. I head over and I pick up Headbutt, but Murkrow doesn't actually learn it. Whoopsies, you know, it just feels like every Pokemon learns this move, but I guess this Flying Magpie doesn't get it. Then I heal in Goldenrod, and I remember that I have a new routing here. So I skip the radio card because I can get it during the plot line, and I skip the bike because I don't need it for Kanto. So I'll head north first. And then I pick up Kenya, despite Murkrow being a flying type who is undoubtedly gonna learn Fly. Sometimes I'm such a robot. Then I realize as I'm about to reach the Squirt Bottle Lady's sister, someone suggested that we call her the Squister, but I don't know if that's like the best term. Squister doesn't really roll off the tongue. Anyways, I realized that I forgot to get an Abra, so I can't teleport back to Goldenrod. Making things worse, I actually decided to turn around to go back and get Abra, and then I bumped into this Juggler, and then watch as I use Peck against his electric-type Pokemon. This is truly the content that you're here for. While I was fighting this battle, I snapped out of the trance that I was in and pulled myself together. After he's defeated, I head north and talk to the Squister anyways, and then return to Goldenrod. With that embarrassing part of the game out of the way, everything should be fine now. Whitney opens with Clefairy, and it likes to use Metronome, and that makes the fight quite unpredictable. On its final turn in battle, it gets Smog, which poisons Murkrow. I was intending on using Mudslap to lower Miltank's accuracy, but now that seems a bit risky. I still go for it because Rollout is super effective, but it just isn't enough. Second time's the charm, right? Well, not exactly. This time Miltank lands 3 Rollout despite the Mudslaps, and Murkrow faints again. I'll try one more time, and then if I fail, I'll have to go and train. This time Miltank actually misses Rollout, and then Murkrow gets an incredible critical hit with Pursuit. I'm now outspeeding, so I move first and finish the cow off. Cheesy strats are always the answer here. Feel the pain, Whitney. There's a reason that you cry. The Kimono Girls are next, and honestly they aren't as easy as usual. Some of them have bulky evolutions, and Murkrow doesn't do well if it isn't one-hitting everything it faces. Since Umbreon doesn't have much offensive power, I decide to toy with it a little bit. It feels good taking revenge on this creature for all the times that it messed me up at Karen. Burn Tower is the first time that the rival has Magnemite on his team, and Mudslap is the best answer I have for it. Pursuit takes care of Haunter in one turn. Magnemite is next. I use Mudslap and it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't quite finish the steel bolts off. Thundershock hits me, but Murkrow survives with decent health. From there, the battle is straightforward. A small improvement would have been to use Mudslap on every turn against the Quilava instead of just the first. Morty, who is usually terrifying, not because of his ghosts, but because of the Ghastly's curse, is really a joke today. This battle, along with all the trainers in his gym, are just experience points. The lighthouse is my favorite part of these Johto playthroughs. It's a chance to get some experience, learn cool new moves like Feint Attack, and visit Dennis. Before saying hi, I do my customary greeting dance, and then we do battle. And this one was special. We were graced with not only one 69, but a second one. So after the battle, I've truly earned my prize TM34. Across the sea in Chuck's gym, things aren't as predictable as I'd expect. The fighting types are doing neutral damage because of my dark typing. Murkrow's base defense is so low, I take a lot of damage whenever they hit me. I wasn't even filming at a moment when Knobs Machoke used Rock Slide and it just one-hit Murkrow. Going back up against him, I was pretty tentative. I really don't want this to happen again. But this time he chooses Seismic Toss and then I finish him off. Chuck opens with Primeape, and it takes lots of damage from Peck. Not quite enough to faint though. It uses Leer and then goes down the next turn. Poliwrath is next. Peck does decent damage and then it uses Dynamic Punch and it lands. Really? No Mind Reader, just the risky gamble? Alright, fine. Because of confusion, Murkrow hits itself and then faints. Primeape is exactly the same in the next fight. Poliwrath this time does the smart thing and sets up Mind Reader. I'm not doing enough damage to take it out in 2 hits, so it manages to punch my small Magpie. Hang in there, Murkrow. Okay, good, he survives. But my tiny bird is dizzy. Please just hit. Peck hits the Poliwrath and it faints. I might have won this fight on luck alone, but I really wanted to defeat Chuck because now I get access to the HM for Fly. This is the strongest flying type move that Murkrow can learn. That is, without breeding. If you breed, it can learn Drill Peck and Sky Attack as egg moves. But in these playthroughs, I'm only using my starter Pokemon, so I'm not actually going to be able to use the daycare to breed a Murkrow with those moves. I skip Jasmine and I head to the Lake of Rage. On my way to pick up Hidden Power, I decide that I should start training a little bit and talk to this guy. By the way, he's a dirty hacker. Level 10 Gyarados? Yeah, sure buddy. There's no way that you got this without a Game Shark. Did anyone else have one friend who just constantly told everyone that they had legitimately caught ridiculous Pokemon like this in the wild? Yeah, I had that guy. I do not have fond memories of him. The Rocket plotline allows for some more training. I was being stubborn here and waiting to teach Hidden Power, but I should have just taught it to Murkrow right away when I received it. Price is next. I've made fun of him a lot in the past, and now I think it's coming back to get me as I start to use some flying type Pokemon. I take a lot of damage from the Seal and the Dugong, and then Piloswine knocks me out. Because I get stabbed with Fly, I should have been using it all along for maximum damage. This takes care of the Seal in one hit and prevents some damage. Dugong still gets one Aurora Beam in before it faints though. I just need the Piloswine to miss Blizzard, but it doesn't happen and I faint again. I figured I'd have to grind at some point and now is as good a time as any. I head out to the sea to gain a couple levels. I'll take this time to talk about the power of Return in comparison with a move like Fly. Fly gets the stab bonus, giving it a 1.5 times modifier for a total power of 105. However, Return will have a base power of 102 when my friendship is maxed out. With the normal and flying type boosts from Faulkner and Whitney's badge, Return and Fly will have a similar power again. Both of them also get the additional 12.5% boost from the Zephyr badge. The only issue here is that my friendship is likely not quite maxed out yet. The difference is with a move like Return versus Hidden Power Ground, as I was using in my Gligar video, the ground type move doesn't actually get the 12.5% type bonus, because you have to defeat Blue and Kanto to get that from the Earth badge. But in this case, Fly actually is the correct choice against Price. I decide to try Jasmine first though. Hidden Power is great against both the Magnemites, and they faint in a single hit each. Steelix is next. Hidden Power does good damage, but the Iron Snake just keeps landing Iron Tails 3 times in a row. I try again, and this time I get dirty, literally, by using Mud Slap. I don't set it up fully, and after receiving a Hyper Potion from Jasmine, Steelix still manages to land an Iron Tail and knock Murkrow out. I'll train up some more and reattempt a couple levels higher. At level 42, I have a choice to make against Steelix. Channel the Spirit of Faulkner and turn my Magpie into a dirty mud-slapping bird, or play straight up with Hidden Power and hope my new levels give me the power I need. I decide to take the honorable route despite my bird being a Dark-type Magpie. You know, those things aren't particularly honorable. They're also really annoying. Murkrow is very displeased with me for more than one reason. Steelix and Murkrow take each other down to low hit points, but then Jasmine uses a potion. She's not playing by my rules apparently. Moment of truth. Will the Iron Tail finish me off? Not this time. It misses and Murkrow seals the deal with Hidden Power. Returning to Price, I'm not doing significantly more damage, so I still have to take one hit from Dugong. Is Piloswine just going to KO me again? Its Blizzard connects, but Murkrow is a serious hero and survives with 9 hit points. Well done, little Magpie. Now it's time for Claire. I'm a bit worried about her because the Dragonairs know Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. Return takes the first Dragonair down to a sliver of health, and then Murkrow gets paralyzed. So that isn't good. I honestly should have just used Fly here. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I was playing through this one. I spend a bit of time training south of Blackthorn City. There's an elixir down here anyways, so it's nice to pick that up. Returning at level 53, I can now one-hit all of the Dragonairs. Sometimes just one level is all you need to make an impossible fight into an easy one. I journey around Johto and pick up the rare candies, and then I battle my rival for the final time in Victory Road. This fight is really easy for Murkrow. Here's my moveset going into the league. Honestly, I feel confident against everything except Lance. The Dragonites with Thunder Wave, Thunder, and Blizzard will require a bit of thought. In Johto playthroughs, I don't save between league members. I've got to defeat them all in a row. Will's the first member, and he says that losing isn't an option. But honestly, Will, losing is the only option. His Psychic-type moves won't do any damage to Murkrow, and Feint Attack is able to sweep through his entire team. So the AI in Pokemon games is awful, right? Well, check out this big brain move that Koga pulls off. I use Fly against Ariados because it's a bug type, so he starts to set up Double Team. He's got a free turn after all. That causes Fly to miss, and then he continues his setup, making this spider even more annoying. Since Ariados can't do much damage, he uses Baton Pass and brings out Fortress. Now his bulkiest Pokemon has great evasion, and it can set up spikes for free while I attempt to damage it. He whittles me down with Swift, and when I'm in KO range, he explodes and takes Murkrow out. I think that this is the smartest that the AI has ever been in these games, but it's your job now to change my mind with your stories in the comments. On my next attempt, I make it back to Koga, return KO's Ariados. Why use Fly when you can just reuse Return, right? Might as well just use Return all the time in Generation 2. Now Fortress isn't set up, so I can deal damage to it with Hidden Power. But once again, it explodes. 7 hit points. Oh my gosh, I actually survived that. And while this does feel great, Muck comes out and immediately just finishes Murkrow off. I tried this fight again and decided to use Feint Attack against Fortress because it has lower special defense. This switch does do a little bit more damage, but not enough to make the fight consistent. I get lucky though, and it doesn't explode. Because of that, I'm able to defeat the rest of his Pokemon, even the one that I was most scared of, the fighting bug-type Venomoth. Next is Bruno. I'm a bit worried about Rock Slide from Onix and Machamp. I figured they would both be able to survive a hit from Murkrow. Onix does deal around 1/3 damage to Murkrow, Machamp on the other hand just doesn't. So it turns out this fight was easy, as it should be. Bruno, you're awful. Remember that. So Umbreon knows Sand Attack, which is a ground type move. But you know what's special about Sand Attack, as I mentioned before? It can still hit flying Pokemon. Game Freak knew that this was the most powerful move in the game, and so they made it even stronger. But Murkrow can luckily just use Fly to evade Umbreon's first turn Sand Attack. After that, I have good answers for the rest of her team. Return for Murkrow, Hidden Power for Houndoom, Fly for Vileplume, and Hidden Power for Gengar. For Lance, I need Rest. Thunder, Thunder Wave, and Blizzard will be just unsustainable without recovery. I replace Return with Rest, which honestly is a bad choice. Why would you ever want to get rid of Return? My power with Feint Attack isn't enough for a 2-turn range on Gyarados, but luckily it misses. The Dragonite paralyzes me on turn 2, and from there a wild turn of events happens, where Dragonite misses 3 Thunders in a row, and Paralysis prevents me from attacking. Once that's done, I knock it out and the Blizzard Dragonite comes out. It lands a hit and finishes me off. I need a better plan for this fight. I could use Detect to prevent some turns of Thunder Wave and Blizzard. It might help me stall some PP out of the Dragonite, but not enough. At this point in the playthrough, I thought the answer was going to be the boring moveset Return, Rest, Feint Attack, and Fly. 2 stab moves and the double R combo. R and R for really repetitive. On my next attempt at the league, Koga again finishes me off with Explosion. I really hate that this is happening, so I'm going to train up a bit more and make this fight consistent first. Starting at level 60 is more consistent and I make it back to Lance, and this time training allowed me to think up a better learn set anyways. I don't know what I was thinking with the last one. I replaced Feint Attack with Icy Wind. It's 4 times effective against Dragonite, and I have Price's Badge giving ice moves a 12.5% power boost. That's a total of nearly 250 power. I still was nervous that they might survive though, but Icy Wind gets the job done. Aerodactyl is next. Icy Wind doesn't knock it out, so I take a lot of damage. Charizard is next, and I don't knock it out. Its Flamethrower could take me out, but it doesn't. I just need to one-shot the final Dragonite. It's a higher level than the previous 2, so it has a better chance of surviving. 4 times effective Icy Wind is just too much for it though, and Murkrow's done it. The title of champion is mine. One of the reasons that I struggled against Lance was I was trying to ensure that Murkrow had access to Hidden Power for Surge, Brock, and Blaine. I didn't want to replace it, so I had a bit more of a constrained moveset. These gym leaders are usually complete pushovers, so I like to make things a bit more challenging and see if the Pokemon I'm using can defeat all of them without using a Poké Center in Kanto. Access to Hidden Power makes Surge very easy. This time I remember that Shadow Ball is a physical move in Generation 2, and I use it for Sabrina. Ghost being physical really makes sense as a counter to the Psychic type. It makes no sense from a lore perspective though. Ghosts don't really have like bodies or anything physical, so they should be using special attacks. Against the PP draining Erica, I've got Fly. Then I face off against Misty. While Return is great, she has Lapras. It survives Return and then uses Blizzard, but the Johto level curve rescues Murkrow. No loss against Misty today. From here, things are easy. Hidden Power is great against the 3 remaining gym leaders, and Murkrow does it. No Pokemon Center visits in Kanto until Blue. I'm starting this fight at a nice level, so I'm hopeful about Murkrow's chances to get lucky. However, then Rhydon comes out and Hidden Power Ground doesn't do half damage to it. Alright, I need to get lucky here. Rock Slide can miss, but it doesn't. I try one more time, but Blue still defeats me. So what could I do different to make this fight easier? The badge boost that boosts ground type attacks is the Earth badge, and it's the only one that I currently don't have. So all of my other types will be doing 12.5% more damage, with the same amount of power and the same type effectiveness. While Steel Wing has the same base power as Hidden Power, it will get this 12.5% boost, giving it a small edge. I head over to Rock Tunnel to pick it up. I need a move slot to learn it though, so I grab the Magnet Train Pass from Copycat and delete Fly. By the way, I really loved this little cutscene of going onto the train when I was a kid. I used to just go back and forth between the two cities over and over in the train just because I thought it was so cool. Now with Steel Wing on my moveset, I get a great critical hit, and Murkrow makes it past the Rhydon on its first attempt. After that, I use Return on Gyarados, and it takes 2 turns to knock it out. Arcanine is next. Hidden Power does good damage. Then its Flamethrower takes me into orange health, and Blue uses a full restore. That gives me 2 turns of damage to knock the Fire Doggo out. 2 hits for Exeggutor and Shadow Ball for Alakazam. With that, Murkrow did it. The small, mischievous Magpie has reached its ultimate test at level 70. I really want to complete Crystal in under 3 hours. And then I do this. I was talking while I was filming here, and I thought that Return was in this move slot, so whoops. But luckily for Murkrow, it outspeeds Pikachu, and also Pikachu's Thunder misses. So Return knocks it out next, and then Red sends out Blastoise. After dealing damage, it's clear that this turtle is either going to be a 3-hit or a 4-hit. It uses Blizzard, and to my astonishment, Murkrow survives. But I don't have the time I need to knock the turtle out or heal. I use all my rare candies and attempt the fight again at level 80. At this level, Blastoise clearly can see that there's no possibility of knocking me out with Blizzard, so it chooses Rain Dance instead. That's a big consistency boost for Murkrow. My second return gets a critical hit, and I move on to Snorlax with full health. The Sleepy Bear uses Amnesia, and I get 2 returns off, taking it down to orange health. This is amazing luck. This fight couldn't be going any... critical hit from Body Slam. That finishes me off. Fine, I guess I have to do this again. I try again, but this time I don't get the same luck against Blastoise. Because I'm at red health, I need to heal against Snorlax, or Body Slam will just knock me out on the first turn. Unfortunately for Murkrow, it can't heal fast enough to deal damage to Snorlax. So this isn't gonna work. It's time to grind. Because I'd really like Murkrow to finish under the 3-hour mark, I level up only 2 times and then attempt this fight again. The first fight plays out like the last one. Blizzard deals too much damage and then Snorlax can just KO me immediately. On the next fight, Blastoise misses Blizzard again, and I get to Snorlax in green health. Okay, luckiest fight ever again. I can do this. I'm gonna get past Snorlax this time. Oh wait, another critical hit. At least I'll outspeed though, right? Oh, and it paralyzed me. Great. Murkrow really is not getting good luck, so unfortunately it's not going to make it in under the 3-hour mark. I spent some time grinding, and at level 85, things are still largely turning out the same. Also, Blastoise seems to have stopped using Rain Dance entirely. Did my level increase cause this? I'm not sure. I need to rethink my approach to this fight completely. The brute force strategy isn't working. Here's what I came up with. Fly, Swagger, Return, and Rest. Return takes care of Pikachu, and Swagger is for Blastoise. It won't boost his special attack, and it may prevent him from using Blizzard. After that, Fly allows me to potentially avoid using Blizzard and stall out his PP. So the summary of this strategy is use Swagger to stall the PP out. After that, Snorlax is next, and Swagger here is the ultimate gamble. Instead, I go for Return spam to defeat it as fast as possible. The inconsistency here is that if Body Slam paralyzes Murkrow, the fight is probably over. Luckily for me, it went for Amnesia first turn. It really likes to do this, so I'm able to take it out. Charizard is next, and Swagger is useful here again. It hits itself, and then I use Fly, but it snaps out of Confusion. Because it has a boosted attack stat, the AR recognizes that physical moves would have a better range, and so it switches into Wing Attack, and it does a lot of damage to Murkrow. I knock it out, and since Murkrow is going to be immune to Espeon's psychic attacks, Red chooses Venusaur next, and it gives Murkrow a chance to heal with Rest. The only offensive moves that this grass dinosaur knows are Giga Drain and Solar Beam, both of which my flying type resists. Once I wake up, I use Fly and take it down in a single hit. Espeon is last, and Return finishes it off in 2 hits. I did it. I beat Red on my first attempt with this new moveset. Now, let's figure out which moveset is the most consistent against Red. By the way, this is going to be a regular segment in all of my future solo Johto playthroughs. I think it's really interesting to explore moments where maybe luck allowed me to progress past a trainer, and then see if there would be another way to get by them with more consistency, or perhaps get by them faster at a lower level. The first step is to determine if the swagger strat I used is consistent already. I'll try the fight 10 more times and see just how many times I'm able to win. So here's what this process taught me. Swagger is obviously inconsistent, that's just part of how the move works, but there are other factors here that make it even more unsustainable in this fight. Blastoise can freeze, Snorlax can paralyze, and Charizard can burn. Just one of these status conditions can ruin the fight if they occur. Of the 10 battles that I attempted, I only won 3. I guess that 3 to 7 odds are alright, but I think that Murkrow can do better. Perhaps I can make things more consistent with Sleep Talk. Rest, Sleep Talk, Return, and Protect. This way I either attack, heal, or defend while I'm asleep. Unfortunately, this is just gambling. Paralysis from Snorlax messes you up, Blizzard can freeze, and there's no good answer for Charizard with this moveset. I won 2 fights with this moveset and lost 8. By the way, you might notice that my PP is extra large in this fight. I forgot to enter the correct PP amount in my save editor, so just ignore the Sleep Talk PP. There was actually no fight against him where I used more than 10 of them. I tried going back to a Swagger Learn set with Swagger, Return, Fly, and Protect. I was wondering if I could stall the Blastoise out and get rid of all of its power points for Blizzard. But the lack of recovery options for Murkrow really ruins this strategy. I won 1 out of 10 fights. I also thought if Haze could help, maybe I could reset Charizard's attack boost and force it to use Wing Attack when it's powered down, but that really doesn't change much about the fight. If Charizard lands a Wing Attack, then things are already really bad. So I'll try a different approach. What about using Toxic instead? I know, stalling with a Murkrow. This is peak strategies right here. I should definitely get into competitive Pokemon. I tried once with a moveset that included Snore as well, but that really isn't a good idea. To go full stall, I need to give up Return, and without it, I can't actually get past the Pikachu. So this is getting even worse, not better. I think I'm like digging myself a grave rather than figuring out what is better for Murkrow. So I'm not above some cheesy strats for consistency. Maybe this is actually the best way forward. Let's try Mudslap, Protect, Return, and Rest. Blastoise wants to set up Rain Dance, so I'll get 2 stages of lower accuracy for free. After that, I can alternate with Protect and Mudslap to stall it. Snorlax is next. Because it sets up Amnesia, I spam Mudslap, and in the first fight I get all 6 Mudslaps in. After that, I want to use Rest so that I'm at full health for Charizard. It takes a while for this to happen, but I finally make it. From here, if the Charizard doesn't get a critical hit, I can spam Return and take the victory over Red. Now, how many times out of 10 can I win this way? What do you think? Okay, I won 6 times. So apparently Mudslapping birds is just the way to go. Faulkner knew it all along. My disrespect earlier in the video is clearly just so out of place. Majestic Birdmaster, please mentor me in the ways of accuracy lowering moves. It's time to add Murkrow to the Johto tier list. Its 3 hour, 14 minute, and 27 second time earns it a spot in the A tier today. Not quite the S-Class performance that I thought was possible, but overall, I think that what really held this bird back was just how frail it is when it takes hits. While it does have decent offensive capabilities, it doesn't output quite enough damage to knock out all of its main threats. Curiosity makes me want to try this again with Drill Peck as an egg move. That would make this little crow, Magpie, absolutely incredible in the early game. By the way, I'm dedicated to getting these things right, so if I make a mistake like that, say something like, oh, it's a crow, I'm gonna correct myself right away. I want this to be peak level content for all of you. Additionally, I'm wondering if Hidden Power Ground having Murkrow's HP DV is another problem. Maybe perfect DVs with Stab Hidden Power could perform better, or perhaps a different Hidden Power entirely. Since Dark moves are special in this generation, a Stab Hidden Power could work against Jasmine's Steelix. Mudslap might be enough for the Magnemite line throughout the entire playthrough anyways. I can just keep it around and then use it in the red fight at the end. That did seem like the most consistent moveset, so I'd probably do that in the future to get the best possible time. Up next in Johto is Yanma. Yeah, it's Yanma, and honestly, Yanma is not very fun. So subscribe and ring the chime echo so that you know when that video releases, because it's gonna be pretty brutal. It's my goal to go full-time with this channel, so all of these small engagements really do help me out. but maybe you want to go above and beyond. If you do, consider joining my Patreon. I'm collecting the original 151 patrons, and honestly we're getting pretty close. Regardless of the amount you pledge, you'll be included in this credit sequence. But the most important thing is just that you're here watching. Thanks so much. If you've made it this far, you're incredible. I'll see you in my next video. Now, it's time for the bloopers. I'm like that guy in the oh no, I'm the guy from the Phantom Menace. No, that movie's so bad. Okay. Falker is sort of a joke today. Falker? Did I say Falker? I hope I didn't say, I think I said Falker. Okay, gotta do it again. Oh, I just can't. My mouth's just like, no, you can't talk about price. If you say what you're gonna say about price, we can't say that sentence. We're gonna prevent you from saying that sentence. No compliments for price. Machamp, on the other hand, does not. Which other hand? That's what Machamp is probably asking. It has 4 hands. Anyways, continuing. At this level, Blastoise clearly can see. I'm like a robot there. At this level, Blastoise clearly can see. Okay, no robot. No, I'm not a robot. I swear I'm not, even though I picked up the Kenya before when I didn't need it. Okay, here we go. After that, Fly allows me to potentially avoid using Blizzard and stall out his PP. Stalling the PP out is very important. Okay, that time I delivered that line with much more swagger. It's important to deliver all of the PP with swagger. Wait. Oops. Oh, that's a good one, actually. Should I put that in? I don't know if I should put that in. I should probably put that in. That's pretty funny. I tried one more time and Blizzard froze me right away. So per Murkrow. Murkrow is the evolution of Honchkrow. It's a Murkrow and then Honchkrow and then Murkrow. There's not a lot of crow in this video, actually. More like lots of magpie.